but we really were going there to learn. So we didn't think we were all that in a bag of chips. We went there to learn, because finally, South Africa was available to the world, because apartheid was done. All right. So we went to this little town, 30 kilometers north of Pretoria. You can find it on the map. It's called Hadankua. Hadankua with a G-A, R-A, and K-U-A. 30 kilometers, just a little north and west of Pretoria. So like a suburb, like from here to Gates. Okay? And so we had to fly 36 hours, a day and a half. You can imagine how smelly we were when we got off that plane. And then we got to Johannesburg and had to take a bus from Johannesburg to Pretoria. And from Pretoria, the people in the village of Hadankua came and got us in their different cars. So we couldn't stop and take a shower in Johannesburg because the bus was right there and we had to get on it. Well, as the bus pulled up, out stepped the high school students. To welcome us. They came out and they said, "Think of me, forget me not, remember me, wherever you go." They're in a line. They were bad. They came off a bus after 5 hours of riding and said, "Think of me, forget me not, remember me, wherever you go." Right? So, in the African tradition, everybody that you meet, everybody you interact with, becomes a part of the fabric of your life. Which is why it's very important to choose your friends and your crowd wisely. Because if they're about nonsense, some of that nonsense is going to jump on you. If they're about doing illegal stuff, some of that illegal stuff is going to rub, even if you're not doing it, just hanging out with them, it's going to rub off on you some kind of way. If they're about wonderful, positive stuff and volunteering and helping in their community, all that's going to become a part of your life too. So these young high school students came off singing that's a welcome and a remembrance song. And as tired as we were, and smelly and hungry as we were, we got them on. Think of me, forget me not. We haven't even done nothing, but we don't want them to forget us. We came all this way. Remember me, wherever you go. While they were loading our luggage into the bus, think of me, forget me not, remember me, wherever you go. So there was 100 of them and 52 of us. So we were in the smaller circle in the middle and they were circling around us. All right. So then we do that part and we get on the bus and then we take the 5-hour ride to Pretoria and then another half-an-hour ride in people's cars and so on to Hadankua. We get there, they have this big feast for us. They didn't get what time of day it was. They fed us. We had showers and baths and wonderful stuff. We went to sleep. Next morning we woke up. We stayed. We went to go for 2 weeks in the summer. And all of us had to call back to our jobs and say, "We're not done yet. Please don't give our job away, but we got to stay a little longer." We stayed 6 weeks.
Oh, no.
Hey.
So I'm a teacher then, right? I was teaching high school English. So I come down in August, in Orlando, in August, the last week of school, the first week of school is the last week of August. So I went down the middle of August, the first 2 weeks of August thinking I'll be done and back in time. But just in case, I left 6 weeks of lesson plans. And I met my parents ahead of time, and I met my students. So that and I left them a big picture of me. This is what I look like. Because I had a sneaky feeling that we wouldn't do it in 2 weeks. But we had to call back. I had to call back to the superintendent. "Hi, it's Miss Ferreira. I got to stay. We're not done. We got to stay." And he said, "I can't hold you. How long am I supposed to pass over?" "Maybe another month." I said, Well, almost all of us got our jobs almost taken from us. But the woman who organized it called the president of the United States then, in 1998, I can't remember who it was, and Senior, George Bush Senior. So called the president and the Secretary of State, who Hillary Clinton is now her counterpart back there in 1998, called them to intercede for us at our jobs. We're over there being good Americans, volunteering our time, paid our own way to get there, and the community asked us to stay another month. Please don't, make that saying, "No good deed goes unpunished" by having us lose our jobs. Hold our jobs first. So the State Department contacted the Board of Education for each state that all of us lived in, and we got our job secured. So but we weren't going to leave anyway. So we did meet. I got to meet Nelson Mandela. It was his 80th birthday. He came to the village because they had a celebration for him. Got to meet him, got to sing and dance and tell stories for him, and try not to make a fool out of myself. But it was hard because he's a famous, fabulous man. Then we got to meet Winnie Mandela. We went to her house and had tea. She was in Durban. And we had a great time there too. All right, so just because we're about to be done. So at the end of this whole 6-week period, each host gave us an African name. So Koketso is my South African name from the Ndebele women. And there, you can look them up, Ndebele. So it's N and then Debele. Something like that. And they're in South Africa. And they make tiny, teeny little bead necklaces. So they made me a bunch of them and have them at home. They didn't make these. And the African name we got, they named us after 6 weeks. They figured out who our personalities were. And we had to call back home to the eldest person in our family, which is my Uncle Gilbert, crazy Uncle Gilbert. He was 92 years old. And my mother, because my father had passed in 95. So my mother. And they had this Western Union, their permission for us to add this name and to be baptized in the African name in addition to the rest of our names. So my whole name is Yvonne Marie Koketso Forever. All right? So my name means that late baby in life. So the woman who was 35, that didn't have her baby till then, that's having your baby late in life. She got married at 20 and didn't have a baby till 15 years later, so that's late baby. The unexpected baby. So the woman who I stayed with had 2 sons who always wanted a daughter. I came to live with them for 6 weeks, so I'm her late baby. Koketso means unexpected arrival that causes commotion, but is much loved and much cherished. So hopefully at the end of this you might like me a little and cherish me a little and want me to come back again. But that's my hope. All right? So, because you weren't really expecting me, even if you were expecting a storyteller, you weren't expecting me. I certainly did cause a little bit of commotion up in here.
Yes.
Right. So I kind of lived up to the name, but they named me because that was my nature. All right. So at the end, they took us to the airport. Right, this is at the end. At the end of the whole thing, they took us to the airport, and at the airport, the teenagers sang and danced. They taught us this song and dance. And this is how we say, they don't say goodbye, because everybody becomes a part of your life. So it goes like this. We're just going to stand in place and sing it. And I kind of sang it twice for you already. When we get to the chorus goes like this. I am yours, and you are mine. Remember me wherever you go. So we just repeat that. But when we do that, we go into the center and find somebody and shake their hand. To say, yes, I'm yours and you're mine. Because now we've met each other, we belong to each other. And when you do that, you tell them your name. So I'm really probably the only one you need to tell your name to because everybody else knows your name. Okay? All right, here we go. Right in place, you can dance if you want to. It's just kind of like a little marching step. Think of me, sing. Think of me, forget me not.
Remember me wherever you go.
It's the only time of the day you're going to get to dance.
I know, right?
Move it, dance. Think of me. Whatever dance you do. Think of me.
Forget me not.
Go ahead.
Remember me wherever you go.
Sing everything twice. Come to the middle, find somebody. I am yours and you are mine. Find somebody.
Remember me wherever you are.
I'm twice.
Find somebody.
Yours and you are mine. Somebody else.
Remember me wherever you are.
Back to the circle. Back to the circle. And last time. Think of me.
Forget me not.
Remember me.
Wherever you go.
Sing again.
Think of me. Forget me not. Remember me wherever you go.
Find somebody else.